The following program deals with themes and subject matter of a frank and adult nature. If you are under the age of 18 or are easily offended, go ahead and turn off the program now. You don't want to hear it.
Hello everyone, I'm Ethan Cullen.
And I'm Layla Kay Monroe, Layla Kay, as you may know me on Tumblr or other places on the internet.
And this is What's Your Kink? It's the first episode of our revamped podcast, which we've been meaning to get to and just keep putting it off. But
it was a very, very crazy and very long summer, and it was intense.
Yeah, and we figured what better way to start than with tonight's subject.
Yeah. Tonight's subject is the DDlg little caregiver debate. Little caregiver flows better.
Caregiver little flows better.
Littles are like more powerful than the earth and the sun.
What matters are the words involved.
But littles are powerful, and we are basically taking over the world.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we are. Okay, anyways, yeah. Little's caregiver. So as you may or may not know, some people might not know, somebody probably isn't even listening to this. There's been this huge thing going on because recently, is her name Little Key Charm? I forgot her Tumblr name. But there was a user on Tumblr, and I'll put it in the actual description, her name, where she did a post in which she introduced Little's Caregivers. Littles was something that us at Black Book, which is a blog that I run with other Littles, our name of our page is Little's Black Book, is because we wanted to celebrate different dynamics. We knew that there were Littles that weren't, really girly. There were Littles that weren't even girls. There were baby boys and stuff like that. And there were mommy doms and all of this stuff.
And I personally have been using Caregiver Little for quite a while just because I feel it fits better.
It does.
It more accurately describes the lifestyle to me.
Now, I know that people say that DDlg is not gendered. Well, daddy dom can be a male or a female, because I know some females that are daddy dom. So I'll give you that much. A daddy dom can be a male or a female. A little girl. It says girl at the end.
Yeah, that's what the G in LG stands for.
Yeah, little girl. LG means little girl. That's a G. That's a G for girl.
And then if you don't have to go with that. You can go with the DDlg, which is daddy dom baby girl. Same thing.
Yeah. So I've heard a lot of people say it's not gendered because some little girls don't fit the typical mold of little girls and everything. Some little girls are in fact males, but they feel that they're little girls. That's why they fit in DDlg. But there are some littles that are boys.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you put parentheses LB, daddy dom LB, or mommy dom LB? That doesn't even make any sense. You would go through all this stuff when you just can say Little's Caregiver. And it covers everything. Now, I've heard some people, that caregiver isn't an attractive word?
Oh, yeah, someone was trying to make the point that caregiver sounds like someone who works in a daycare center or an old people's home. And, okay, that's your misconception of what let's look at the definition of a caregiver. One who gives care.
If we want to get really, really intensely involved in this, let's look at the word daddy dom and the people that don't know anything about what daddy dom means and assume that we either want to have sex with our real daddy or we're pedophiles.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if we're wanting to break it down in that way, saying that a word sounds a certain way, we could go and give the other team points that try to say that our DD sounds bad. You don't make any sense. You're hypocriting yourself. You're contradicting everything you're saying in your post, and then you're trying to sound smart.
Basically, what it boils down to is a DDlg title is is off-putting to people that don't fall under that specific dynamic.
Now,
Layla and I, we are a DDlg dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I am the daddy dom, she is my little.
Mm-hmm.
Other people don't apply to that. You could have a daddy dom little boy, mommy and little boy, all of that, and that dynamic just doesn't fit with those. They have their own dynamic. So the DDlg moniker just doesn't suit, and it's kind of insulting.
Yeah, it's very insulting. It's very insulting to a lot of people that I care about.
It's very male centric.
Yes.
And I've said before, I hate using this term, but it's misogynistic.
It is.
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit at all.
Other than an exact description of that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy dom and a little girl.
Now, I've seen that on this person's blog that they have Daddy Dom Little. What I'm guessing that they don't want to let go is Daddy Dom. That is just sad. It's just sad to me that Daddy Dom is that important to you.
It doesn't make sense.
It's so important that you want to totally disregard any little that happens to be a dom. That's their thing. Because I've talked to these people, and I don't know if you've actually had these conversations with these people, or these people reach out to you and have a conversation. You know, the whole entire blog that you said is absolutely worthless. Yeah, we've had these conversations with these littles that say that they don't know where they belong. And they feel little, but they're being told by other people that because they like Superman, they can't be little. Or they're being told by other people because they feel like they want to be the one in charge, that they can't be little. They have to be submissive. Are you fucking serious?
I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that at all. There should be, you know, there should be no one to tell anyone what they can and cannot do.
Exactly.
You can't tell someone how they feel, and you can't tell someone that how they feel is wrong. It doesn't. Again, this is something that I've said. It's either for you or it's not. If the lifestyle isn't right for you, you'll stop following it.
But see, the thing that, like, it boggles my mind is that no one has said that DDlg people can't use DDlg. I still use DDlg.
We're a DDlg couple.
Yes. It's just like ABDLs, who I also consider to be littles, use ABDL. Because they're a separate community.
Yeah.
We are a separate community, but we're all under the umbrella of Caregiver Littles.
And littles.
Therefore, there's different aspects. I don't understand this whole entire wanting to be the person in charge of everything that is DDlg and everything that DDlg represents. And then you go into this whole entire fucking thing about age playing, which...
Now, this is an interesting thing about the age play. Because you've got... I've seen two camps on it. Mm-hmm. There are people that claim that if you are DDlg, then you are age players.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that specifically define DDlg as age play. And then you've got other groups that say unless you are confined by the specific DDlg bubble, then you're an age player. If you don't conform to this vision, then you're just an age player.
Which doesn't even make sense.
None of this makes sense.
It doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Age play is a kink.
It's a role play kink. That's the thing
kink.
that I want you to know. Age play stems from role play. It's a form of role play.
Yes.
Therefore, you're going into a full persona.
Right.
When you get ready to do whatever scene you're getting ready to do. Most of the time it involves a direct age.
Right.
Not saying anything's wrong with that. Not saying that those people aren't littles. Yeah. Because those people are still very much littles.
We personally know several caregiver little couples that age play.
Yes.
We do not age play.
No.
And we are a DDlg couple.
Yeah.
We know several couples that do not age play. But they are still in that caregiver little dynamic.
Yeah.
So, it's the same thing. There are people who are DDlg that are do extreme power exchange scenarios. The total power exchange. There are some that don't do really any major kink at all. There are some that are completely non-sexual.
Yeah.
That it's just strictly the caregiver taking care of the little. That is the whole totality of their relationship.
There is no way. There is no handbook. There is no, yes, you go this way, yes, you don't go that way, to being a little or a caregiver. There is it's whatever works for you and your dynamic. Now, I whatever gets you through the night. If you have to feel like your friggin' words are what matters in the world and stuff like that, then fine, that's you. But don't feel like you have to force it on everyone. And this is me talking directly to the person that felt the need to respond to Ethan's post brick by brick by brick. And then he responded back brick by brick by brick, and I called that person that responded back to Ethan jackass, because you're a jackass to me. You don't respect people that are my friends. You don't respect people that have different dynamics, that have been through hell, and they're coming to this place wanting acceptance and wanting to feel that they're part of something, and you're not respecting it. You're a fucked up person. You're a jackass to me. The end. Go live in your jackass fucking house and do whatever jackasses do.
Well, it's true. He had very skewed views of what BDSM in general is, and it's very strange. I wanted to point out it's odd to me that we're seeing so much rules popping up for this whole caregiver little DDlg thing, where they're saying you have to be this and you have to be that, and complete disregard for individual dynamics, unless it suits them to say so. But in other areas of BDSM, dynamics are the most important thing. The fact that no BDSM relationship is the same. They're all what the participants make it. So I don't understand why there's this mentality that if you are caregiver little or DDlg, whatever you want to call it, that it has to conform to your strict standards. And, who are you to dictate?
That's my main question. Who are you?
And who isn't able to, what they're allowed to be into.
This is to the jackass.
Yeah.
Your blog doesn't have a theme whatsoever except for your freebie theme. Who the fuck are you? This is coming from me.
The only people who determine what a couple's dynamic is that couple.
Yeah.
Or polygroup or whatever you want to call it. Because we need to point out that there are daddy, mommy, little poly mixes and things like that as well.
I don't understand anyone that feels like they have to tell people how they need to be. And then, okay, let's say you feel you have to tell people how you're going to be or how they need to be. Tell people that they're absolutely wrong and all this other shit and all that crap. Okay, let's say that you do that. No one really wanted to follow Hitler, if we think about it. I mean, seriously, let's just sit back and think about it. Nobody really wanted to follow Hitler. It was not a good time. So what makes you think that people are going to just say, yeah, you know what, this dude has a point. Let's just separate everyone. You know what? Let's do that. I'm just going to follow this dude. You know what he's talking about. Why do you think that's going to happen? I don't understand you at all. Like, I don't even remotely understand you. You make no sense to me.
I understand change is a thing that's difficult for people. People have trouble letting go of things that they're comfortable with. But you need to understand when something isn't right.
Yeah.
Like a name is insensitive or insulting, hurtful. And, DDlg isn't directly hurtful, but it's extremely insensitive.
If you're telling everyone involved in it that they have to use that as their term.
And here's what we're going to get down to. If you are tired of dealing with the infighting and all this, let's look at this from a logical point of view. The outside world sees DDlg as a high level of perversion. They think we're pedophiles.
Mm-hmm.
They think all we want to do is have sex with children, or want to pretend that we are children, and that we're just perverse.
Yeah.
DDlg does nothing to fix that. All it does is create the image of the older male going out having sex with a little girl.
Yeah. And then when they sit up there and they say, why are there a bunch of girls in here that are just turned 18 and there's a bunch of dudes in here that are like over 50, it doesn't help our cause.
Now, the term caregiver little is in itself defining. It is someone who's caring for a little. And from there you can take it wherever you want.
If I was to go and explain to a vanilla person that I'm a little, I would have an easier time explaining what a little is than I would having to go into DDlg and what everything means and stuff like that. If I say, you know, I'm in a caregiver little relationship, they'll be like, what do you mean? I'll be like, oh, basically, he takes care of me and makes sure I don't run into walls all the time because I do that. And they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, you know I don't grow up. I got a Barbie for Christmas because I wanted it. And they'll be like, sure. All right.
Yeah.
You know?
Little. You can say it. I'm young at heart. I'm
a little, yeah.
I never grew up. I'm a kid, you know. That doesn't suggest you're into anything kinky. It doesn't suggest that you're an age player. It just means that you're youthful.
And it just gives a blanket term for people to use, and for the people that are judgmental vanilla people to know, hey, this is just me.
Yeah.
But then also if someone happens to be vanilla and not into the kinky aspect, but they feel that they're a little, but they don't want to do anything with that sexualized and stuff like that, they feel they have a place to come to. They don't have to have a daddy dom.
Right.
They don't have to be a submissive.
That's the thing. Okay, I've heard a lot of arguments that Caregiver is suggesting that the caregiver doesn't have to be a dom, and oh my god, that's horrible. That goes against it. But there are littles that aren't into the whole power exchange scenario. Now, granted, yes, if you have a caregiver, there is going to be a level of power exchange.
Yeah.
But there are caregivers that kind of want to be walked over.
Yeah.
By their little.
And this pushes.
I call it the bratty little.
Yeah.
And the doting daddy, mommy, whatever.
I actually wanted to discuss this because there was a point in one of his posts, this person that responded back, where they were talking about sugar babies and saying that we need to keep sugar babies out of the community. I do understand that sugar babies a lot of the time put off a lot of people within the community because they think that these girls are coming in the community just trying to grab the daddies and everything and stuff like that and trying to use them for their money. But here's the thing that happens with these sugar babies that usually are little-minded. They're pretty much...
Not always.
Not always, but a lot of them are little-minded and stuff like that. But with the sugar babies, they're looking for the males that want to sugar them. They're not trying to find a male to use him that doesn't want to do it. They're not trying to take advantage of anyone or anything like that. Their dynamic is they're trying to find a male that wants to sugar them.
That is an excellent point.
They are looking for the male that is looking for this dynamic. If you've ever sat down and talked to, once again, being with Black Book, I've met a lot of different littles. If you've ever sat down and talked to a sugar baby, they'll tell you, I don't have time for a man that doesn't understand what I am. I just don't. It's too complex to even explain to him. Male or female. You know, they just say, I'm just looking for someone that understands the dynamic. And most of them that I've talked to that are littles, they're looking for daddies to be their sugar daddy. They're not looking for just a plain daddy dom or anything like that. So all the daddies or, you know, people that think that sugar babies are going to come in here and, you know, use them and blah, blah, blah. As soon as you meet a sugar baby, you'll know if they're trying to get something out of you. And then it's up to you to decide, hey, I think this girl is trying to use me. I think I'm going to move on. And she'll realize this dude ain't going to give me anything.
That is an excellent point and something I want to expand on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had mentioned that by my definition of caregiver, that they don't have to be a dom, that it's going to wreak havoc in the communities. You're going to have dominant littles trying to mix up with dominant daddy.
That doesn't even make sense.
And it's just going to wreak havoc. Look, okay, here's the thing. Before a relationship even needs to start, there has to be an arrangement. Because any kind of power exchange has to be negotiated at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you're only going to get mixes of people who want to be with people who agree with their type of kink.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that you know, obviously a dominant caregiver isn't going to want to get with someone that's going to say, I'm going to be in charge.
Well, the thing I don't understand is you guys are acting like without these titles, people are so stupid that they don't know how to walk.
Exactly.
They need these titles in order to exist on time. Germany, high something. They need their numbers on their shoulders in order to be able to. You make no fucking sense. A person, just like anybody would meet anyone in any situation, will know, you know, I'm not really vibing with this person because their kinks aren't really lining up with mine. Or their interests aren't really coinciding with mine. I think I'm going to go and do my own thing. You take care.
So basically what all of this boils down to is you can call yourself whatever you want. Your dynamic is your dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Layla and I are a DDlg couple. But you need to think about others that you speak to, others that might be outside of the community, others that know nothing of any BDSM lifestyle, and what you call yourself, how that's going to be reflected upon you.
Yeah.
You need to think about, and not just upon you, but upon the community in whole. We've been working so hard to try to change the general public's view of the lifestyle that we live. And archaic terms like DDlg as a blanket statement for what we do just doesn't cut the mustard.
What's so upsetting is that so many people that I've talked to used to think that in order for you to be a little, you had to be thin and white.
Yeah.
And a female.
And she's not just making this up. This is
No.
something that we have actually dealt with.
Yeah. You had to be thin, white, female, about 18, and submissive.
And the whole nymphette thing.
Nymphette thing. There was no other way. That is how you needed to be. Well, how is that fair to everyone else? How is that remotely fair? And then you're wondering why so many people aren't agreeing with it, because you know what? That whole entire setup that you just said, thin, white, female, into Hello Kitty pink and everything like that, that's a minority. Not everyone is going to be into that. And you're going to have a lot of people that aren't into it. That's why you have a lot of people saying, you know, it doesn't really make sense what you're saying.
But that is the basic mental image that accompanies DDlg.
And that's the thing that gives us so many issues. because they don't see us as real people and everything. And then the other thing you're saying, you know, it has to be a daddy dom and a little girl. And it automatically starts crossing into the sexual aspects. What about the people in little caregivers that are asexual?
Mm-hmm. And there are.
There are.
Hopefully, we know.
I actually work with one
like
on.
2 different?
Yeah. I actually work with one on Black Book where her daddy is an asexual person. Is he not a daddy because he's not wanting the sexual side of it? You seriously need to sit back and you need to learn. And you're saying that people need to research and everything like that. No, sir, you need to sit back and research. Because all you're doing is being absolutely closed-minded. And you're hanging out with people that are being closed-minded as well. And I have no problem telling those people that either.
It's a very closed-minded mentality.
Yeah.
That's kind of pervasive in this specific community.
It's segregation.
Yeah, and it needs to change.
It really does.
This community needs to grow. It needs to move to new areas and be what it's supposed to be. And things like this pigeonholed title isn't going to help that.
Why does it threaten you so much? I don't understand the whole entire threatening you thing. That's the thing that I don't understand about the people that don't want DDlg to not be the main title anymore. What is it about Little's Caregiver that freaks you out so much? Other than the chaos, because the chaos makes no sense. I think another point that you have said is that, you know, it invites underage people to come in if you don't say daddy, dom, little girl. That doesn't even make any sense.
Especially anyone that knows me and Layla.
Yeah, because I pretty much feel if you're not 18 plus, you should not be on my blog. You should not be talking to me. Pretty much to conversate with us, we have this little button on us that, you know, on the porn sites where it says, if you're 18 and plus, continue. If you're not, bye. You know, I don't want to know your story and everything. You know, take care of you. I'm sorry, 18 only here. You know, so that doesn't even make any sense. Mm-hmm. Because if you are straight up preaching that, that's not an issue. I do think that when you say DDlg, little girl, that might be a little bit more confusing than Little's Caregivers, because that sounds a little bit more sophisticated to me. Maybe that's the thing. It sounds too sophisticated.
What it is they perceive it as a threat to the dominant male role.
And that's just sad, sir.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna take over your dominant male. You still gonna be a dominant male if you find a submissive female. Nobody is taking that over.
If you're a confident dominant male, you could be called a duck. And
yeah.
No one cares. Because you're a dominant male.
Pretty much.
Owning your shit.
And every dom that I've met that are actually confident doms have the greatest sense of humors ever. And they will sit up there, they will joke with you, they will have a good time with you, they let the littles pick on them and crap like that. But the moment that they feel their little needs to do something, they'll tell them that they need to do it. And the little like, okay, I gotta go. So, the whole entire you feel you need this title to be in power makes no sense. And yeah,
you're not Samson.
No.
Losing the title isn't going to take away your power.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just sad. Straight up sad.
And these people that are saying caregiver sounds like, you know, work in an old people's home. As a daddy dom, what is your role? You are a caregiver.
Yeah.
For your little.
Yeah. I understand things might not sound as good to some people and stuff like that, but again, no one's telling you not to say DDlg if you don't want. No, you can still say DDlg. Matter of fact, you know what? You don't have to call yourself Little Caregiver at all. If you want to stay DDlg and never put Little's Caregivers in your tags and everything like that, that's fine.
That's fine.
You don't have the right to tell other people that they have to do that.
That's exactly it. You do you. But don't force your thing onto other people.
If it's because you're seeing the change and how so many people agree with it and everything, and that's fucking with your head and everything, change will come. That's what they said in the 60s, and it happens. You know, and then you got all these people just hanging around. Yeah, so, you know, it is what it is. Just move on and do you. And you can stay DDlg. You don't ever have to recognize Little's Caregivers. It is what it is. But don't go out of your way to be a dick on other people's posts just because you want to be a dick.
Yeah.
Ugh. And I guess that I'm not submissive enough because I talk too much. And I can stand up for myself.
And she does.
Yeah.
I don't step in until I have to.
Yeah.
And usually it's to tell her she needs to slow down.
So, yeah. It just doesn't. So, I hope everyone is doing great. I'm sorry this has to be our first podcast back, but
it's an important subject, and I actually invite,
we're actually going to, tonight, we're going to have a tiny chat.
Yeah.
And the tiny chat, we will be playing this podcast, and then we will be discussing it afterwards. Yeah. So if you know where the Black Book Tinychat is, we'll put it in a link on, this actually be coming from our podcast page. And we'll put that in there, and we'll discuss that and everything like that, and discuss any future subjects, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And of course, you know, what's your kink? Send us in, you know, your questions, things you want to know, things you want to talk about. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
I saw a troll over the summer.
She did.
No, I didn't. All right. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Love you. See ya.